first thing was I think all of us was we were all nervous in terms of interacting with the kids. So that was the first thing I was really nervous about, but it was also the first surprise that I got it was the first surprise that I encountered while I was there, because all of the kids were so nice. They were so happy to see us. They were just so open with our presence. And because I mean, we've all like been at school when like a stranger comes in and you're kind of just like, who is this? What are they doing here? But it was just not that vibe at all. Like, they were just so happy to see us and learn from us. And even if like there was a little bit of a language barrier at times, it was almost like it wasn't even a barrier, because it didn't stop any of the true communication from happening, which was just the idea of being together and experiencing each other in each other's presence. It was like, especially a lot of the games I noticed too. Something that I took away from and something that I also peeped while I was out there was that a lot of the games are like circle games. A lot of the games are like, okay, we're doing an activity, but we're doing it together, and it's almost like we're challenging each other until one of us wins. Like the really impossible, like kick. We all know what game I'm talking about. But I just really, I noticed that all the games are about unity and about really spending time and energy. Literally, like, y'all know that game makes you sweat. So it's all about like spending that time together as like children, and it really builds that sense of community that I feel like, especially in America, is kind of lost because technology gets in the way. And then I also noticed that at Street International, the difference between that school and the school we visited before that was like their games were a little more like lovey, a little more emotional. Like, it was the same game, but instead of like, okay, you're just out, it was like you had to find someone to kiss type of thing. But a lot of their games involved like all of them. I mean, I took a play class, so that's why I'm kind of like, a play class meaning like a class where we studied games and like how games impact culture and like workplace flow and psychology and blah blah. So it's interesting to see how all of their games are really about spending time with one another. And I thought that that was very important, and it built a very strong foundation for community. And it was just really great because it also showed us how to connect with them in like their way. I would say definitely, I mean, I don't want to choose a favorite, but I think the school that I was most touched by was Street International, because going into it we knew like the background was an art school, and like I love how every time you had a camera they would like do the boxing thing, and it's like that was really seeing, like, for me that was a really interesting part too about the trip, especially being at Street International, because you got to see the subculture of Jamestown. Like, I feel like that was really important too. Like, yeah, they're all Ghanaians. Yeah, we're in like Accra or around Accra, but it's like, this is Jamestown, and this is something that's really special to them, is boxing. So I thought that was like a little tip that you take home. Like, you can't look that up on Wikipedia. You can't like read that in like some textbook about Africa. Biggest takeaway from being out there was that like, this is really not the Africa that they tell you about. This is like everything that's like good about Africa, they're not telling you like whatsoever. And not only are they doing that and that's trifling, but there's so much good, like there's just so many amazing things in Africa that we saw during this trip, especially in Ghana. I just feel so like privileged and so like blessed that I couldn't have gone on this trip.
Banu, Lamujin, 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 oh, Lamujin, Banu, Lamujin, 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 oh, Lamujin. Yeah, I pull up in the Bugatti. Baby girl, make you look at me.
Whenever we were on the bus, I would just stare outside the window, especially whenever we were coming back from a very scenic area, because it was just beautiful to see the juxtaposition between nature and civilization. I feel like they really allow their nature to like flourish. Like, it's not just about like land, it's about like understanding that like you don't have to take over everything, you know, like you don't have to be greedy. Like, you can just let nature like exist on its own and just like grow freely. So the nature is something that really stuck with me a lot through the trip, and it just really blew my mind. I was really shook at the Kwame Nkrumah memorial. I was really shook at his memorial as well, because I remember I was sending my friends like pictures of the architecture there, and everything is just very Wakanda-esque. And then I had to like stop myself, because I was like, no, this isn't Wakanda-esque. This is Ghana, and this is like Ghana, like this, that was Wakanda trying to be Ghana type of thing. Like, you know, that was like fake Africa trying to be real Africa. And it's just crazy because that, like, we have the structures, we have all those things in place, we just don't know that they exist because we weren't taught that they exist. But since through this experience, because I now know these things, I just feel like the world is my oyster, because I just feel like I have the support of like the entire like continent. And it makes me kind of sad that I was shook by it, because I was shook by the city. I was shook by, I don't know what to expect when we went, but I don't know, I really had no idea what to expect in terms of like architecture and culture and like infrastructure. But I was so pleasantly surprised to see that it's just, that's the biggest takeaway. That the biggest thing that surprised me about Ghana was that it is just like any other place in the world. And that's it was a very conflicting, realization, because it's like, why do I even think like that? And then I began to like analyze my thought process and the infrastructure. I was just very much like, I would look at the skyscrapers and I would look at the buildings and I would look at all the advertisements, and it was just so surreal, because not only is everything like Black people, African people, Ghanaians, just everything is Ghanaian. Like, it's like, and it's like this, we are on a Ghanaian freeway, we're in a Ghanaian bus in Ghana, just in case that's not clear, around some Ghanaian advertisements and some Ghanaian buildings. Like, it was just incredibly astounding, and it blew my mind, because it's something that no one tells you this. No one shows you this side.